everyone. Thanks so much for joining me today. I hope you all are well. Today, I'm only going to do one spread in my journal because I wanted to not so much talk about the actual spread itself, but about a topic that I find interesting and that I've actually fought with in the past. Real quick though, I just want to explain that here I was trying to see how well this paper actually handled watercolor, and it didn't go very well, but I think I can make it work if I were to back the other sides of the pages with cardstock, but I decided I wasn't going to use the watercolor today. So let's get into the spread and what I want to talk about, which is chasing your dreams after 40. Just to speak real quick about the spread, I was inspired by this cute ribbon that I bought from, I think it was Dollar Tree a while back. Also, I was inspired by a painting that I did from a video tutorial that I'll link down in the description. The spread, I won't lie, was a bit of a struggle for me. And although the end product was not the vision I had in my mind, I still ended up really loving it. But I just want to say that it's okay when things don't always turn out to plan in your journal. Just try not to allow any room for negativity, like within your journal, so that however a spread ends up is just what it is. And if you really, truly cannot stand it, then you can always go over it with some black gesso, right? So now let's talk about why it still seems like kind of taboo to chase your dreams when you get older. Western society does tend to place a lot of value on youth and think that people hit their prime when they're in their late teenage years to their late 20s. We associate youth with beauty, fun, passion, and energy. Most importantly, though, we view youth as a life rife with possibilities. When you're young, they say that the world is your oyster and you have your whole life ahead of you. So, we scramble to try to make something of ourselves before we hit the dreaded 30s. Because everyone knows, if you haven't settled into a career, family, house, and routine by 30, you're doomed to a lonely and broke life. I mean, that's at least how I felt. And I've been told also that it's silly to go after your dreams after you hit a certain age, that I would never be able to make a living doing what I love, especially if I'm older, and that once I hit a certain age, what I have to say and what I can produce are no longer really valid. Aging is a huge fear in our culture. So much so that we allow it to define our worth, stifle our creativity, and feed into the negative mindset. But all of this is a detrimental way of thinking. So detrimental, in fact, that it holds so many people back from becoming their great and true selves. People like Julia Child, Toni Morrison, and Stan Lee all experienced great success in life after their 40s, and some even later in life than that. In fact, Alma Thomas, an abstract artist whose famous work hangs in the White House, didn't even debut her art to the world until she was 75 years old. Your age does not define you, nor does it take away any of your value. No matter what the number is, you matter here as much as anyone else, whether you're 6 or 106. And you can seek to better yourself and even change your careers after 40. Almost 2 years ago marked a huge change in my life. I turned 40. Okay, but really, 40 is a pretty big milestone for most of us. It marks our turn into true adulthood. Everything before now was just practice. Now, before I hit that milestone, I knew that I was going through some mental changes and started wanting more from my life. Not that I hadn't accomplished a ton in my time on this earth. I mean, I'd gotten my nursing degree as a single mother of 2. Well, 2 at the time. I'd overcome plenty of adversity, gotten my family out of poverty, and even began traveling the United States in an RV. with my family. At this point, I really did feel anything was possible. But to be honest, I wasn't happy. I hated my job. I hated it. Being a nurse and RN on the floor is just not for me. And I was never at home, and I was always stressed out. Plus, I was done working my ass off to make other people rich. I wanted to work for myself. I wanted to set my own hours, make my own goals, and earn my own income. But there was one caveat. I was 38. There's something about that 40 mark that makes things seem, undoable. Like you hit a certain age in your life and you just got to chalk up what you've done and where you are to how the rest of your life is going to be. You made the choice to be a nurse. You have to work until you retire as a nurse. You settled for that manager job. That's what you'll be doing until forever. And hopefully, one day, you can retire and do what you've been wanting to do, right? But the more I got to thinking, the more I thought that was just a big fat lie. I was lying to myself, but why? Because I've been listening to the conventional wisdom for years that told me I needed to get a job and work it until I retired. That wisdom never takes into account your hopes, wants, needs, mental or physical health. It doesn't give two shits about your happiness. And that wisdom, coupled with fear of instability, keeps people tied to jobs they hate for the rest of their working days. I never thought I could start over again, especially because I'd spent so much time, energy, and money taking myself through nursing school. The amount of debt I owe, I don't even want to talk about it. But even that wasn't enough for me to stay on the floor as a nurse. I left nursing that year, and honestly, I won't ever look back. At least nursing on the floor. I do currently work kind of as a nurse from home, but I will never go back to the floor. Writing is something that I've wanted to do since forever, but most people really don't know that about me. Why? Because I kind of hid that from everyone. As soon as you tell anyone you can write, they all want to read something you've written. And the fear inside me said, hell no, because what if they didn't like it? I was silly and maybe even a little dumb about it. I wish I could go back and tell myself to stop listening to the people who say that writers don't make any money. Stop soaking up the way of thinking that writing isn't a real job. Seriously, I cannot believe I actually fed into that way of thinking. Seriously. But if I could go back to my younger self and just push her to just go for it, who knows where I'd be now? But I can't do that. What I can do, though, is utilize everything I've learned since then and apply it to my writing. I can still learn and grow and figure things out. I can start writing now, finish a novel, and hit that damn publish button. And I can tell everyone I did it. Okay, so I'm going to take a break right here and talk to you guys a little bit about the spread. I know I said I didn't want to focus on it too much, but I do feel like I need to give you guys at least some insight as to what I'm doing here. The vision I had in my head was for like a fairy type forest. I was going to do mushrooms. I tried to do the red top mushrooms, but I felt like they just weren't big enough. So I found some stickers in that new sticker book that I got, and I have it linked in the description, as well as some stickers from Happy Planner. I'll have that book linked down there as well. And right here, I just have some paper doily that I got off of Amazon. I have like a whole stack of them, and I just sprayed it with some of that distressed ink. Really, I didn't know where I was going. Once I put down that flower paper, it kind of just didn't look right to me. So I played around with the greens and everything to kind of make a bush type feel, I guess, at the bottom. And the flowers kind of do end up looking a little bit like trees, but at least that paper flower in the background. But I did my best to try to blend in the stickers because I don't like things to look like they're just stuck on. I kind of like it to be integrated into the actual spread. Also, I will say that I put a lot of paint on this page, on these pages, and man, I'm telling you, this book, these pages hold up like a champ, like for real. I'm really enjoying using this journal. It really does handle mixed media really well. Also, because I had decorated these pages so heavily, I needed somewhere to write. I mean, it's my journal after all, right? So I got these pictures of the fairies that I printed off of Creative Fabrica, and decided that I would use these as like basically little journaling cards that I can take in and out of a pocket. And you'll see, I first cut out the footage of me trying to make a pocket out of cardstock. It just wasn't working right for me. And so I kind of was looking around my office for something that I could use as a pocket. And you'll see here in a minute that I found a sheet protector. I just decided that one of those sheet protectors would work. The only problem is, obviously, when you cut it down to size, you're leaving one side open. And so you have to deal with that one side by either like gluing it or stapling it or maybe even taking heat to it. But I basically just took matte Mod Podge and went over the back, stuck it on there, and stapled some of that ribbon on there, and then put my papers in. And that's how I basically finished out this spread. So back to the topic, if you are like me or like I was, and you're afraid that you can't do anything because it's too late, let me give you just a little bit of advice. First of all, you have to know where you are in life and just deal with that. You can't jump forward and you can't move back. You're where you are, but that doesn't have to be a bad thing. And you certainly do not have to settle. You can still follow that burning passion that's been sitting in the back of your mind forever. You can still go after that idea you've been holding on to since you were in your early 20s. Or if you get a new idea and you're in your 60s, you can still do it. You are where you are. And the best thing you can do is trust that you haven't started on your passion for a reason. You're here now. So it's time to act now. Trust your intuition. The best part of being there is that everything you've gone through up to this point can be used to help you solve problems, make plans, and do things smarter, probably way smarter than you would have in your 20s. So use your experience to sit down, formulate a plan, and then go for it. And by the way, you don't need anyone's permission. Don't be afraid to learn something new. If it's something that you really want, you'll find time to carve out of your day to be able to go for it. There are so many instructional videos and courses online now that you don't have to be in college or take any college classes in order to be able to learn your craft. So it's funny because as I watch this, the sticker that I chose is perfect for this topic, and I didn't even plan that. Believe you can, and you're halfway there. Being older makes you wiser. You'll make better decisions, and they'll come from a sounder place. So don't look at being older as a detriment. Look at it as a benefit. And I get it. You might be afraid to put yourself out there because you feel like people won't care what you have to say or care about your art or your work. I understand. I thought the same way. But if you're feeling called to do something, you need to do it. And the universe needs it. We need your art and your work. Are there any of you at a certain age that feel like your time is up or that it's too late? Let me know, or let me know what dream you've always wanted to chase down in the comments. If you've watched this far, thank you so much for being here. It really means a lot to me. I hope you guys have a wonderful weekend, and I'll see you next week. Bye.